Hello everybody, thanks for joining me again. Well, that was a bit of a walk down here to this woodland. This is the third time I've been here, and all the gorse has really grown up now. Really difficult to get through. There was a better path before, but it's worth the effort. This is a place where I don't think many people come. And there's some really nice trees in here to photograph. Only problem this morning is the sun is far too bright. There's no mist, there's no separation, so it's a very chaotic looking scene. Some nice close-up shots of the sun coming through the ferns and leaves and things like that, but if you're trying to get a photograph of the trees and separate them, really difficult. Let me show you what I'm doing. It's just dark, and if I increase the shutter speed so I can see something, then all the highlights are just blown out. So I'm going to have to rely on the camera to recover something from the shadows. Somewhere, maybe about there. I've put a polariser on the front just to see if I can cut down some of the glare, and every now and again, and it is few and far between, a small cloud does help a little bit, but let's focus in on those ferns that are growing on almost the front of the tree. That should get the whole tree in focus at f11, ISO 50, and well, the shutter speed's at 1/3 of a second, but that's just because I'm using it to control the exposure. Well, as you can see from this image, it just doesn't work. The highlights were just too bright. There's no separation from the background. I've even tried to use the Autumn effect to make the highlights glow and try to make some separation, but in this case I think I'm going to have to admit defeat. Okay, let's move on and see if I can find something else. Well, I'm hoping you can see this scene I've found. What lovely trees, but as you can see I'm having to shield the camera from the sun. It's so bright. This would be so nice on a dingy, dark winter's day. Okay, let's see if I can make a photograph of it, even in this bright sunlight. Well, again, I've got the polarizer on the front. You can see it's so bright, and I'm keeping the histogram well down to the left hand side in the shadows, hoping I can recover some of those in post-processing. The moment at the same settings as before, f11, ISO 50, 1/3 of a second, focusing in again on not the closest thing to the camera, but the closest thing that's in the middle of the shot. One branch on the left here. I can also see the highlights on that as well when I'm zoomed in to focus, so I'm trying to suppress those just by using the shutter speed, and the polarizer is helping a little bit. Okay, Let's try that. And then I think I'm going to pick some scenes out that are a little bit closer in with less contrast. Well, I was still struggling with that contrast, and the highlights were very bright. But I do like this composition, and I'll definitely be going back on a day when there's either mist or the conditions are just not so bright. I have tried the autumn effect on this again. It does make the highlights look a bit more dreamy, a little less harsh, but not a very real looking shot. And rather than zoom in, as I've said, I actually cropped one of the better images to come up with this. I've probably overdone the autumn effect a little on this. It looks very blurry. Again, not very realistic, but I think a shot like this has its place, and I've certainly made the most of probably a bad start. But lastly, this square image I do really like. I've probably got the autumn effect just about right. It does give it almost that Tolkienesque look. The trees frame the photo really well and really leads your eye into that mysterious forest in the background. So in the end, quite pleased with this. Well, time for one more shot before I tackle the gorse and go back up the hill. I've come back to a tree which I've photographed twice before, and the reason I actually came to this woodland, first time I came, it had a really magical quality to it. But today, with this harsh light, not such a good image, but while I'm here, I'll give it a go. Let me show you. You can see the structure of this tree just fanning out from the centre. It's the largest tree around, growing out of some boulders. The rest of the boulders are there, and the rest of the ground around it is a little bit flatter. So it's grown all twisted with all these lovely branches fanning out different directions, and it's in two halves now. Whether it's actually two trees or one, I think it's one tree, and there's another different tree growing up the centre there. Anyway, same as before, let's try and keep the highlights down, keep a dark image that I can recover the shadows in. So this first image was taken 2 years ago, roughly about the same time of year. You can see though there's a lot more leaves on the tree, and was really able to make something of the structure with the lovely yellow colours. Yes, there's still some highlights in the background. You can still see the sky, but overall really pleased when I took this. So back to today, in this image, the leaves were more at the tops of the tree, and I decided to do this portrait shot just to accentuate the branches going up into the sky. Colour's still not too bad, and because I was facing away from the sunlight, highlights a little better. Well, hopefully I've got something from that today. Very bright with some very harsh highlights, but with this tree I'm facing away from the sun, and it's just catching the autumn leaves at the top. Anyway, time to pack away the gear and go back to the car. Well, before I get any further and have to tackle all that gorse, let me end the video there. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost anything. I will show you some photos that I took on the way down here this morning as I came across them more. But for now, cheerio. Here we go. Okay. Hello.